Welcome to the Divine Drama Channel, where we share and reimagine tales of love, ambition, rivalry, betrayal, and redemption between mythic gods, humans, and heroes of history. My name is Sasha, and I am pleased to be your guide and storyteller through a few of these videos. In today's episode, we recount the feud between mother and stepson as Hercules deals with the challenges thrown to him by Hera. In this high-stakes game of survival and drama, you won't want to miss. Before we begin, let us know where you're watching this from and which heavenly drama we should cover next. And if you like the stories and the way we unpack all the dramatic juicy bits, make sure to subscribe and leave a like for the algorithm to show us love. If you are ready, let the drama unfold. You ever meet someone who just cannot let things go? Like the kind of person who holds grudges so long, they probably put expiration dates on their calendars just to extend them. That's Hera. And when it comes to Hercules, oh, she holds the Olympic gold in grudge holding. Let me set the scene for you. Zeus, the king of bad decisions and questionable romances, has gone and done it again. He steps out on Hera, again, and this time it's with Alcmene, a mortal woman who gives birth to a son. Not just any son, mind you. This kid is special. His name? Hercules. His vibe? Big, strong, and way too innocent to understand the storm coming his way. Now, Hera hears about Hercules, and she's not happy. And by not happy, I mean she's out here, pacing Mount Olympus, throwing vases, and yelling at Zeus like he left the toilet seat up. Another one, Zeus. You couldn't stick to goddesses. You had to go bother some mortal. Zeus, meanwhile, is trying to charm his way out of trouble with that smirk of his. Like, come on, Hera. It's not what it looks like. Hera's not buying it. She decides, right then and there. That kid's life? Oh, it's gonna be hell. Hera wastes no time. Hercules isn't even out of diapers when she sends her first welcome to the family gift. Two massive venomous serpents. These things slither into the baby's crib like, yeah, we're about to end this kid's career before it starts. But Hercules doesn't cry, doesn't scream, nope. He looks at those snakes like they're chew toys, grabs one in each hand, and starts strangling them for fun. It's less, oh no, and more new high score. His mortal parents come running, and there's Hercules, giggling like he just discovered his new favorite game, with two dead snakes dangling from his tiny fists. Zeus hears about this and laughs so hard, he probably cracks a few clouds. Hera. Oh, she's seething. She's muttering, "This kid thinks he's funny, huh? Alright, let's see how funny he is when I'm done with him." Fast forward a few years, and Hercules is growing into a man. By man, I mean he looks like he's been bench pressing Mount Olympus for fun. But Hera, she's just getting started. She doesn't go for the direct approach this time. No snakes, no monsters. Not yet. No, Hera decides to mess with his mind. She manipulates everything around him, planting seeds of doubt, stirring up chaos, and, oh yeah, driving him mad. One day, Hercules snaps. He doesn't know why. He's seeing red, hearing voices, and before he knows it, tragedy strikes. Hera's schemes work so well that Hercules accidentally kills his own family. His heartbreak is instant. He falls to his knees, realizing what he's done, and Hera's probably up on Olympus, sipping nectar like checkmate. Hercules, now racked with guilt, seeks redemption. He goes to the Oracle of Delphi, who basically says, "You messed up, big guy. But there's a way to make it right. You're gonna have to do some chores though. Like, a lot of chores. But these aren't your average, take out the trash kind of chores. Oh no. These are fight monsters, move mountains and probably die trying chores. They're called the 12 labors. And guess who's behind most of them? That's right, Hera. She's sitting in the background, pulling strings, making these labors as dangerous as divine laws will allow. Her vibe. Let's see how strong you really are, kid. The first labor. Kill the Nemean lion. This thing isn't just a lion. It's basically a tank with fur. Its hide is so tough, swords and arrows bounce off it like marshmallows off a brick wall. Hercules tracks it down, and let me tell you, this fight is epic. The lion pounces, claws out, and Hercules just rolls with it, wrestling the beast like he's in the godly version of WrestleMania. He finally figures out that brute force alone won't cut it, so he chokes the lion out with his bare hands. And when the lion's down, Hercules is like, you know what? This fur is too nice to waste. He skins it, throws it over his shoulder, and makes himself a lion cape. Meanwhile, Hera's watching from the sidelines, face-palming so hard it echoes across Olympus. Who does that? She mutters. But Hera isn't done. She sends him after the Hydra next, a multi-headed serpent, with the fun little quirk of growing 2 new heads for everyone you cut off. It's the mythical version of whack-a-mole, except the mole is trying to eat you. Hercules rolls up with his trusty nephew, Iolaus, like, alright, we got this. He slices off 1 head, and 2 more pop up. He slices those, and surprise, 4 heads pop up. Iolaus finally shouts, "Bro, we're gonna need a new strategy." So they come up with a plan. Every time Hercules chops off a head, Iolaus burns the stump with a torch to stop it from regrowing. It's teamwork at its finest. When they finally take down the Hydra, Hercules wipes the blood off his hands and says, "That's 2 down, 10 to go. You still watching, Hera?" And Hera, she's watching, all right. Watching and plotting. The 12 labors are just getting started, and Hera's schemes are far from over. Hercules is out here proving he's not just strong, he's clever too. But when Hera ups the stakes and starts sabotaging him directly, Zrenia, things are about to get even wilder. Hercules is on a roll. 2 labors down, 10 to go, and the guy's out here making impossible feats look like CrossFit warm-ups. He's wearing a lion cape, dragging a Hydra carcass, and probably thinking, at this rate, I'll be done by Tuesday. But Hera, oh, she's not about to let that happen. She's sitting on Olympus with a checklist of how to ruin Hercules' life, muttering, lion, dead, Hydra, burned. What's next? Oh, I know, a little chaos never hurt anyone. Spoiler, it's about to hurt everyone. For his next labor, Hercules is sent to deal with the Stymphalian birds. And these aren't your regular backyard pigeons. Nope, these things are the size of airplanes, with beaks like spears and feathers that they shoot like arrows. They don't chirp, they screech like a heavy metal concert gone wrong. Hercules shows up, looks at the swarm of birds, and says, "Oh, great. Murder chickens. Just what I needed." He tries the usual approach, throwing rocks, swinging his club. But these birds are fast. 1 feather whizzes past his head, and he shouts, "Okay, now it's personal." That's when Athena steps in. She hands him a pair of bronze clappers and says, "Here, make some noise." Hercules looks at her like, "What am I, a one-man band?" But he takes the clappers, smashes them together, and the sound is so loud it makes the birds lose their minds. They scatter, flying off into the horizon. and Hercules dusts off his hands, muttering, "Yeah, you better fly away." Next up, cleaning the Aegean stables. Now, on paper, this doesn't sound too bad. Cleaning stables? Easy, right? Wrong. These stables belong to King Augeas, who's been collecting cattle like their Pokemon. And let's just say the cleaning crew quit centuries ago. The place is piled so high with you know what, that the mortals probably use it as a landmark. Hercules shows up, takes one look, and gags. This isn't a stable, this is a biohazard. The king smirks and says, "You've got 1 day to clean it." Hera, watching from Olympus, is cackling. "Let's see you muscle your way out of this one, golden boy." But Hercules, being Hercules, doesn't panic. Instead, he looks at the nearby rivers and has a light bulb moment. If I can't clean it, I'll flush it. He reroutes 2 entire rivers to flow through the stables, and within minutes, the whole place is spotless. The king is furious, the cows are confused, and Hera's so mad she probably throws her goblet off Olympus. Now, for his next labor, Hercules has to catch the Ceryneian hind. What's a hind, you ask? It's a deer. But not just any deer. This thing is faster than gossip at a family reunion, and sacred to Artemis, which means Hercules has to catch it without hurting it. Hercules chases this deer across mountains, through forests, and probably over a few mortal picnics. Days turn into weeks, and at one point, he's sitting under a tree, panting like a dog, muttering, "Why couldn't it be another lion? I'm good at lions." Finally, he catches the hind by sneaking up on it while it's drinking water. He ties it up and starts heading back, but Artemis shows up, arms crossed, looking not impressed. "Why are you messing with my deer?" she asks. Hercules freezes. It's for a labor. I swear I didn't hurt it." Artemis narrows her eyes, then sighs. "Fine, but if you scratch it, I'm turning you into a statue." Hercules nods so fast he probably gets whiplash. By now, Hera's starting to panic. Hercules is breezing through these labors like they're chores on a Saturday morning, so she decides to get direct. For the next labor, she sends Hercules after the Erymanthian boar, a creature so massive and angry it probably makes the Nemean lion look like a house cat. Hercules tracks it to a snowy mountain and wrestles it into submission because, of course, he does. But here's the twist. On his way back, Hera sends the centaurs after him. Now, centaurs are already chaotic, but Hera's like, turn it up to 11. She tells them, go distract him, make him spill his wine, or whatever. Just slow him down. So Hercules is trudging down the mountain with this giant boar slung over his shoulder, and suddenly a bunch of centaurs come charging at him, shouting nonsense like, "Hey, is that organic wine?" Hercules sighs, drops the boar, and mutters, "Why is it always me?" before swinging his club like he's clearing out a Black Friday crowd. With 8 labors down and 4 to go, Hercules is proving that no scheme, sabotage, or ridiculous monster can stop him. But Hera, she's not done yet. And trust me, the ending, oh, it's a good one. Hercules is 8 labors deep and still standing. He's fought lions, hydras, birds, and even a pile of cow poop big enough to deserve its own zip code. And yet, here he is, marching forward like the stubborn golden boy he is. Hera, she's furious. If this were a video game, she'd be flipping the console over and blaming lag by now. But this is where things get personal. Hera's no longer just throwing monsters and chaos at Hercules. She's stepping in herself. If she's going to stop him, she's going to do it up close and godly. The ninth labor sends Hercules to the land of the Amazons to retrieve the girdle of Hippolyta, their queen. Now, girdle doesn't mean what you think. It's not some stretchy waistband for comfort. It's a sacred belt, a symbol of power. Hercules shows up and tries something new, diplomacy. He's all polite, explaining the situation to Hippolyta, who's surprisingly chill about the whole thing. She's like, sure, take it. No need for violence. But Hera, Hera can't let it be that easy. She disguises herself as one of the Amazons and spreads a little rumor. Hey, did you hear that Hercules is here to kidnap your queen? The Amazons freak out, grab their weapons, and charge. Hercules, confused but not surprised, mutters, "Of course this is happening," and gets ready to fight. He manages to fend them off without hurting Hippolyta, grabs the girdle, and books it out of there like a kid sneaking out past curfew. Next up, Hercules has to steal the cattle of Geryon, a three-bodied giant. That's right, 3 bodies, 1 dude. Imagine a human Cerberus, but less bark and more, I will smash you with all 6 of my fists. Hercules shows up, takes one look at Geryon, and says, "Why do I even try?" The battle is intense. Hercules dodging punches from 3 angles, Geryon yelling insults like, "You think you're better than me?" But Hercules, as always, finds a way. He takes out Geryon, grabs the cattle, and starts herding them back to Greece. Along the way, Hera sends a swarm of flies to harass him, because apparently, let's annoy him with bugs is her new master plan. Hercules swats them away like, "Really, Hera? Flies? That's the best you've got?" Now comes the 11th labor, retrieving the golden apples of the Hesperides. These apples are not your average grocery store produce. They're divine, shiny, and heavily guarded by a dragon with 100 heads. Because of course they are. Hercules doesn't even try to fight the dragon. He's like, "Nah, not today." Instead, he finds Atlas, the titan holding up the sky, and convinces him to grab the apples while Hercules takes over the whole holding the sky thing for a bit. Atlas is thrilled to be free of his cosmic chiropractor's nightmare and happily fetches the apples. But when he comes back, he's like, "You know what? I'm not going back to holding the sky. Good luck, buddy." Hercules, thinking fast, says, "Sure, no problem. Just hold the sky for 1 second while I adjust my grip." Atlas, not the sharpest tool in the shed, takes the bait, and Hercules grabs the apples and dips. For the 12th and final labor, Hercules is tasked with bringing Cerberus, the 3-headed guard dog of the underworld, up to the surface. This is basically the godly equivalent of bring your pet to work day, except the pet is a giant, snarling monster that eats souls. Hercules goes to the underworld, strolls up to Hades, and says, "Hey, mind if I borrow your dog for a bit?" Hades, surprisingly chill, says, "Sure, but no weapons. You gotta wrestle him fair and square." Hercules nods, probably thinking, "Wrestling again? Fine, it's what I do." He faces off with Cerberus, dodging bites and swipes, and eventually wrestles the massive beast into submission. He drags the dog to the surface, shows him off like a kid showing their science fair project, and then, because he's not a monster, takes Cerberus back to Hades unharmed. With all 12 labors complete, Hercules returns, expecting some kind of fanfare. But Hera, she's not clapping, she's plotting. She makes one final desperate attempt to humiliate him during his ascent to Olympus. Hera manipulates the gods to throw every obstacle in his path. But Hercules, worn down but not broken, keeps moving forward. He's been through too much to let Hera win now. Finally, he ascends to Olympus, standing tall in his lion cape, looking every bit the hero. Zeus, proud as can be, declares Hercules a god. Hera, grinding her teeth so hard they probably spark, has no choice but to accept it. She glares at Hercules and mutters, "Fine, you're a god now, but don't think this means I like you." Hercules smirks. "Oh, I never thought that, Hera, but thanks for all the motivation." Hera storms off, leaving Hercules to celebrate his hard-earned immortality. And so, Hercules conquers every obstacle, proving that sheer stubbornness, a good sense of humor, and maybe a little divine help can get you through just about anything. But what's the takeaway here? Sometimes life throws snakes, lions, and literal poop your way. And sometimes your worst enemy is someone who just really hates your guts for no good reason. But if Hercules taught us anything, it's this: when life gives you hydras, bring a torch. And if someone makes you wrestle a three-headed dog, at least take a selfie first. So the next time you feel overwhelmed, remember, if Hercules can wrestle his way to godhood, you can probably handle that overdue email. And with that, Hercules' story comes to a close. Immortal, triumphant, and still rocking that lion cape. Let me know if you're ready for the next divine drama.